Hey, you. It's sorry, Alexander. I wasn't talking to you, darling. I'm talking to you, Tube. And for a change, rather than having to endure the up close full facial of myself, I'm not working this morning. It's Monday, and I'm spending this time with my boy Alexander, who is rapidly approaching his 18th month, completion of his 18th month. And today is early in October still. I think, oh no, it's like the middle, 14th of October, some such thing. And according to Andrea, the Mercury retrograde, I don't follow all of this stuff. Thankfully, there are others who have more diligence in these areas than I do. But, we know that the wandering stars are energetic bodies of some sort, vibratory frequencies. And I just got hit by a leaf. And that's bound to bring about certain kinds of energies, particularly when there's a new moon and this, that, and the rest, and so on and so forth. So it just seems like what her star watchers foretell is that this is a period of introspection and reviewing things, and it's often that Mercury's in retrograde. I'll hear her saying, "What?" Anyway, I just got off the phone with my old man. He's just about 80 years old, and he's a shipping man, actually. And yeah, he and I don't play chess anymore because I think that the chessboard is flat. He says the chessboard has to be a ball. So we don't really see eye to eye, and it's an interesting dichotomy. We're meant to be the generations of the family. We're meant to be finding ways of creating harmony finding a way of harmony, not disharmony. And I see disharmony hither and thither. It's by the way, I don't know whose property that. Oh, I do know the old people who live here. I don't know their names. I know them to wave at them, and I did help the old lady with her something heavy the other day. But Alexander just likes walking around a few of the gardens in the neighborhood. This happens to be one of them. Really. Oh. Up and down. Sorry, Alexander. Oh, sorry. We'll go this way. No? Okay. Let me pick you up. I do apologize for the delay in service there. Alexander and I are having technical difficulties. Zane, my friend, eating cherries from the garden. Earth berries is a bargain. I've got to read that before it disappears. Come back. Peas are blooming. Sun is burning. Bees are buzzing. Beans are curling. Leaves are turning. Autumn churning. Stars are swirling. Wind is whirling. Sure, we've had some hectic wind. Zane, I wanted to put a video of my pot plants had blown over the other day. I made a video of it. I've been like, oh, do I want to put it up? It's awesome having. I was just thinking. I looked at my number of subscribers today, and it's gone to 450. And I remember just a few weeks ago, I was in the Crystal Palace, and the police asked me how many subscribers I had on my YouTube channel that I was talking about. I said about 250. So that's that's a huge leap in faith. A huge leap in people who have clicked yes. Some of those people may never come back, and some of those people will be there to kind of go, what are you talking about, fool? But I'm confident that there's a fair few good-hearted people who are kind of here to share some great ideas. Hey, you. Hey, hi, plain sailing. Oh, you're saying hi to Zane. But yeah, okay. That's cool. Oh, you did say hi to me. That's cool. Nice to have you visiting. Um, so the energies are saying that we've definitely got some kind of, I mean, aren't we always in a state of change? I mean, this is why I'm not like the biggest fan of astro theology. I just think that there's some value in it. I don't write it off. I certainly don't write it off. I think there's value in it. I think the stars, the energies, and so on are playing a part. I think perhaps chemtrails are about trying to forestall some of those energies, you know. These are theories. But it is an interesting dialectic that I face this week, going to see my father down in Dorset, where I was born. And hey, maybe you should have let's turn the camera around. It'll be frightening, but it'll keep me on point. Yes, he's making more sense than I am at the moment. But yeah, I've got to go and see my father and my aunt, you know. And back in 2016, when I started bashing everywhere, because it took me a while to kind of start talking about it. So I started talking about it in 2016, and you know, it made me very unpopular in my family. I've gone from being quite popular because, you know, there's not many published authors in our family, to being very unpopular because there's not many retards in our family. And so I'm, you know, kind of like the black sheep, but I'm wanting to find that way where we're not at war, or, you know, and I'm not saying I'm at war with my dad. I just, you know, we're not talking really to each other because I'm vociferous in my view that, you know, it's a plane, it's a playing field, it's not a ball. And that really upsets our kind of understanding of things and our willingness to accept that the entire construct is a deception. Why not deception? I'm going to do a little thing on charities, actually. Not the usual kind of bashing of charities where we say how much their chief executives pay and how little gets to the front line who need it most. No, I'm more interested in the language that the charities use. I noticed one yesterday saying, fighting cancer and beating poverty. Beating poverty to keep you more poor. Fighting cancer, you know, it's all fighting and warring and kind of what have you, rather than treating and curing. And I think that our relations between us are only going to get... Yes? Oh, you want some? Look here. There you go. There have been relations between us, so we can stop needing to kind of have to be on a side. So whilst I might be one of those people who's still bashing the flat earth drum, because I think people need to know that, I'm also constantly saying, now, let's not fixate only on that. And if you want to squabble with people who are going to say that it's not flat, you can do that for the rest of your life. Really. And I don't mean that to be ugly. I just mean that there is that many millions of people who will come your way to tell you how wrong you are, that you will exhaust yourself and possibly those around you on proselytizing for the plane. Now, I had some Jehovah's come by my door yesterday. I'm sure they'll never forget the visit. But what they do so well, and I admire, is they really proselytize for God and for their version of it, to religion. And they do that with full vigor and heart and love, and they're family men and so on. So, am I to be a door-to-door salesman for Jehovah's Witness, or Flat Earth in this case? I would suggest it's really like the Jehovah's dudes. They got some good information, but it's not enough. It's not. If you stop there, then you've been caught up in one of the snares. I think when I look at how the church designed the Bible and the flat earth was within it all along, they knew that. They had precocious youngsters like me telling them that. They didn't even need that. Of course, they knew that for themselves. Come here, darling. They didn't need that. They already knew that. They wrote that book, or they published that book, and they then went ahead and published Big Bangs, George Lemaitre. And I don't buy for a second the Newton version of, or the historic version of how Newton was forced into exile, and the Catholic Church had him hunted down and so on. No. He was one of their boys. Come on. So so for us to kind of think that we have any authority to look to other than ourselves is surely of the same intentional mindset that had you believe you were a monkey once upon a time. So I've looked hard at. I don't claim to be the most well-read scholar by any means. In fact, I think that too much reading can be detrimental to the ego, because you think you've read so much, you must know so much. But the readings of whose teachings? Because the most learned Islamic scholars will tell you, they know it all. The most learned Judaic kind of head bashing the wall kind of dudes who spend their entire life rocking backwards and forwards like they got some kind of mental illness. This is not, for me, this is not admirable. In fact, this is the root of our problem is that we've taken certain teachings and turned them into our beliefs and our only way of communicating with the world and with the heavens and with the source or the Most High. So I lay down this challenge to myself and hopefully to others. But certainly I have to lay this challenge down to myself, and that is to find that middle way that it leans on and it learns from the teachings of the ancients for sure. But it doesn't require them to see the light or the truth or the way. Was there the Bible verse that says, "I am the way, the truth, and the light"? I really didn't mean to bring that all out there, but there you go. It's the other way around. But and I think that I'm always saying this now more and more clearly, that you are, if anything, it is you who is the way, the truth, and the light to the Most High. The Most High is up here. Okay? And encumbrances or baggage, like books. And, if you don't want to hear me talk about your book in this way, then imagine I'm talking about somebody else's book. That's what most religions do, or most religious acolytes do, or any followers of the sciences or whatever. Oh no, my book's fine, it's the other books, those are the fools. They're the fools. You're all the fools. You don't realize that the books are the trick, the con. God never made books, man made books. God wrote what you need to know upon your heart. But you won't see it, you won't read it, you won't hear it, while you're deafened by your incantations and blinded by your books. You won't hear it, and you won't see it. I won't see it. And this is why I've been for 3 years now, maybe not quite 3 years, it took me a little while to get up and running, But for a long time, relatively speaking, I had been trying to clean my body, trying to clean my mind. I even made a reference to, you know, porn and stuff like that, and I know that people like to use that kind of stuff as admission as what a bad boy. But anyone who tells me they ain't been a bad boy, they're talking shit to themselves. You know, I'm on that journey of cleansing myself. I come from, you know, that kind of racist, openly racist mindset. Not in my family, you know, in my family, okay, but, you know, in my culture. You know, white South African, European South African was inculcated with this them and us thing by the British, by the Dutch, by the Europeans, with this kind of, they're the savages and we're the kind of whatever. And a lot of people took that on board, you know. And it was obviously part of my indoctrination coming up. So it was from a young age, because, you know, apartheid fell apart by the time I'd finished the war. Just after I finished being in the war, apartheid was a thing that was crumbling. And look at this beautiful color. Look at that. Yeah, it's lovely, huh? Beautiful. Touching the leaves. You see, inculcating a love of nature. And I've been doing this, by the way, for quite some time, you know, and trying to have him out here barefoot. Inculcate a sense of superiority, or inculcated this. I had to work damn hard in my early 20s. My early 20s, really, to kind of seek to overturn that, because by the time I was 21, I'd already spent, like, you know, after the war, I'd spent about 9 months in Europe and America traveling and kind of, you know, having to confront where I came from and how people, particularly in the late 80s, thought about South Africa. You know, there was a constant protest going on outside South Africa House in Trafalgar Square. You know, us white South Africans, even by my own cousins, my English cousins, they're, you know, oh yeah, you guys are, you know, you guys have got your servants and all this sort of stuff. I mean, that they pay somebody to come and do their ironing is a different thing, because they're white. Anyway, oops, we've just found the water. Guess what? It's level, son. That's why there's a beautiful image here, like a mirror reflection of your body. It's flat. Water is always flat and level, son. That's what your senses are telling you right now. But I was being told that I was a doggone racist because I'd come up in a country where people were separated. When I came to the UK in 1988, after the war, I found that white people were kind of, some of them much more racist than folks that I'd come across, you know, or much more kind of conscious of race and much more sensitive to people being better or lesser or higher or lower or whatever. So this idea that you know, it's unique to one group, unique to one thing, no. It's entrenched. And the thing about racism is that when I tell one group that they are superior over another, some of that group will take that on board and do stuff with that, nasty stuff with that. Others won't. But the group that I tell is inferior, some of that group will accept their inferiority over a period of years or generations. They will come to accept their inferiority. However, there are those who will say, no, I think we're still equal. And then on the other side of the coin, you'll get those who will say, no, we are superior. It's us who's in fact superior. There is a superiority hierarchy. There is an establishment, and it belongs to the other group, or the minority group. You see it amongst the Shia, the Sunni, the black, the Indians. You know, in India you got all of these different kind of nuances, and it's all mindfuckery, really, at the end of the day, isn't it? So. But it works, and people struggle to find that balance, to realize that kind of truth about we are really just one humanity, one. And, you know, using texts and books and so on, and as coming up, I had a Bible study teacher from next door. He was a Scottish man, probably in his 60s at the time. He'd come over from Scotland, and he said to me quite clearly that the Bible says that the whites, the blacks are inferior to the whites. You know what I mean? And this is like, what? I couldn't even see that as a youngster coming up. I could see the earth was flat in the Bible coming up, but I couldn't see that they were saying anything about inferiority complex and so on. But now as an adult, I see that. I see that the Bible is riddled with kind of opportunities for people to embrace racism if they want to, separatism, tribalism, all of this sort of stuff that actually must be the original forms of division, divide and conquer, because we've been in that kind of divide and conquer mindset for a very long time. So all I'm saying, I guess, I don't want to belabor here, all I'm saying is that, perhaps it's worth considering that if you've got division in your heart, it's because it's been sown there by the game controllers, So I don't know that we work it all out. I don't know that all of us are meant to. I don't know the ascension thing, the new age thing and all that. I don't know these things. I know that in my own heart that I'm a better man for confronting these things and seeking, despite so much information, the whites are under attack, or the blacks are under attack here, or the this are under attack, or the that, and if you're into evolution, that we were all once black, and there is no kind of, all of this, I don't know. It's all, for me, it's all the kind of divide and conquer mindset. And if I'm going to do anything with these 450 subscribers and this opportunity to use my voice through the YouTube medium and other opportunities, then you won't be finding me seeking to entrench bitter separationism and mentalities of them and us, and you could even go so far as to say the establishment. I've seen on the Global Tour, or I've even encountered myself, very, very extremely well-educated people, as the system would consider them to be well-educated people, who are absolutely not lying to themselves when they say that the earth is a ball, and when they go out and propagate science that bases itself on that, or they go and make pharmaceutical products that cause harm and illness. They're not doing that because they're part of some agenda that they like to tell us that that the royals are, all they're trying to do is annihilate and kill. Well, maybe they are, or maybe they're just caught up in a system that is so entrenched in its division. It only knows this one way of being and having this constant dialectic, this constant fight to keep it alive, to keep it going, to feed the beast. Anyway, I'm going to leave my musings for Monday morning at that. I'm going to bid you a fantastic day. For me, it's just I constantly, every day, pretty much every day is a new day and a new opportunity to, maybe do a little bit of that stretching I didn't do yesterday, or do a little bit more cleansing along the way, the distilled water and other things that you can do to cleanse your mind and body. Stilling the mind. Andrew says I don't do it enough, but I'm normally up by 3 or 4 in the morning, and I have quite a lot of still time for contemplation and so on. However, it's a journey for me too. I saw footage just now of me from about a year ago, and I'm like, whoa, that's a long time ago. That's a younger man, a man who knows much less than the man I know, the man I am now. And in a year's time, assuming I'm still participating, then who knows how much more I will know, and how much that I will have taken this trajectory. But I know that in my heart, all the alpha male bullshit that I've been through, and I've been through quite a fair bit, I know if you've been on my channel a while, you would have heard me talk a little bit about my military experience. Not that I sought that military experience out, it found me. But you know, afterwards, I couldn't kind of settle into a regular job. I ended up working as a doorman at a nightclub in Cape Town. Very, very rough place. Very rough place. And in a way, you know, we're all made to kind of Darwinian style fight our way through this maze. And it does cause us to become either pussified, as I've said in previous content, or over kind of masculinized. I see a lot of really beefy, muscular guys around nowadays, either beefy and muscular or quite out of shape. It's an interesting, again, dialectic. But I know that I've had my own journey of going through the building sites and working on buildings, for being a bloke and what have you, and all of that sort of stuff, and having to beat a man, or the, you know, whatever it is, or even be the fucking pussy, excuse my language, but to be the pussy in an office situation where I've got these wonderful social worker types who are, you know, who've been socializing, social working, being socialists for their whole lives, and, you know, at the age of 35 they're now senior managers. And I was in change management in local government, but when I was in the government slugs thing before I realized this bullshit, and I used to be in change management. Actually, I got into change management because I was always full of ideas and so on, but people don't really like change. And you can smack people down with change, but they are going to resist you to their dying breath, some of them. And it actually eats away at you, you know. I mean, I know that I was affected by that kind of job that I was in, you know. I'm so grateful that I'm not having to do that right now to pay the rent. You want to play on here? Oh, we like the shale. There we go. Anyway, I'll leave it for now. I've really had fun chatting with you guys, and ladies, and you know, I've had some really nice comments on my channel lately, on this channel I should say, and it's really heartening. It really encourages one to, you know, carry on being a contributor, because there are some, you know, there are obviously negative energies in this play, and we are going to have to encounter those. But it's really where friendships and connections, even though we don't all know each other personally, but sometimes you can feel that energy, that love or that warmth and support coming down the line, and it makes a huge difference. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we could all just be wrapped up in bed and pretending none of this shit was happening, like so many people we know. But I guess we're not those kinds of people, and we're called to do something different. But it's no man is an island, and it does require more than just what one man can get, particularly when you're facing eons of, you know, of naysaying. We'll call it that. I don't want to end on a negative note. So have a super day, and I'll hope to speak with you all very soon. Yep. And this is bye from Alexander. Yeah, we're all brothers, mate. Yeah, that's Nigel Barrett. All right, bro. What type of cannabis, Zane? Well, the biggest plant I've got is called a Jack Herer, right? I mean, I'm not a fan of these GMO type strains, but a friend gave me a seed and it turned out to be bloody fantastic. I'm sure I'm going to get 15 ounces or more off this one plant. I think they're mostly sativas, and I don't have a lot of weed a lot of cannabis this year, to be honest. Been so busy and just haven't had the time to put into it, unfortunately. So I got like four plants, and they're mostly modest size, and then this one giant that's come out of a 35-liter pot. It's fantastic. And the one seed is from a dealer that I had a few years ago before I started back growing my own. And he gave me a bag of seeds that he collected. Just they were organic seeds that he collected. And then he got like pinched by the old bill, like the police, about 2 weeks later. I haven't seen him since. This is 3 years ago, man. But I've still been using some of his seeds. The seeds are going stale now, so I only got one plant out of that lot. And I'm a firm advocate of, you will know the same, but those who haven't listened to me talk on the cannabis topic before, I'm a firm advocate of cannabinoids in the diet, in any form, whether it be anally, orally, cooked, raw, smoked, whatever, depending on what your needs are medically and how you can handle it. Well, we're going to be using these folks' hosepipe, darling. That's for sure. Yeah, this is somebody else's house. Anyway, I mean, cannabis. I haven't put a lot of footage out on that, to be honest, because I guess it's just one of those things that I'm not trying to be like heroic about the cannabis. It's an easy way to pull people in, but and I'm more than happy to have the conversation. I've certainly had the conversation in the street. I've written it up on chalk and whatnot about the benefits of cannabis and so on. So I'm all for it. I just haven't been speaking a lot on it, to be honest with you. Maybe I should, but you see, there's an element of you don't want to shoot the message. You don't want to shoot this thing down. You know what I mean? And we've got enough people that are trying to shoot this down. And I mean, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm not even hiding that from people. It's not something like I'll go quietly. I'm going to go and drink Coca-Cola and I don't drink alcohol in the corner while you can't see. No, that's not me. I'm happy to talk about the cannabis and why I use it and so on. And try and raise awareness to its wonderful properties and the endocannabinoid system that courses through every organ of your body. Cannabis-infused coconut oil cured your question. My friend, I can accept that at face value because I have used it myself. I make the cannabis oil with the coconut, and it's a medicine that pretty much every family should have, that's for sure. Great properties for sure, Roger. It's medicine. Hey Drew, how are you going? Yeah. You just had Harvard, train wreck and pineapple. See, now the thing about you Americans, right, with this cannabis, right, I was last in America in 2005. Was it 2005? You know when the 7/7 event occurred in London? Did I see any acting in that day? When that event occurred, I happened to be in Los Angeles, and an old friend I'd met back in '88. She was living out in Arizona, so I ended up hooking up with her. We're not going there, darling. We'll come this way. Come on. I ended up hooking up with her, and in San Diego, and smoking some American weed. Knocked me out. I was barely able to speak, barely able to move. It's like, what am I, you know what I mean? I was just talking to my niece about it actually, because she comes from California, and they've got the old medical marijuana scam up and running there. So, and she's the same, the weed is so potent, it is so powerful that it's like, I got, on a Saturday night or Friday night, you want to get blasted and like couch lock and all that. I got no issue with that, but I can't operate like that. I can't go around my day. See, I use cannabis in my day to day. And I couldn't do it at that extreme. That would be like hitting a bottle of whiskey first thing in the morning. You can't really do that. You might mouthwash with a sprinkle, but you won't. And I'm on 30 years of cannabis, so I would challenge any alcohol drinker of 30 years to a kind of fitness, wellness kind of experiment, you know. But they have to have drank for 30 years every day. Not like, oh yeah, I had a few drinks 30 years ago. Oh, look, we got some beautiful roses. Oh, smell the roses. Clever boy. Is he smelling the roses? Oh, they're beautiful lemon. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Hello. Yes, that's Alexander. Yeah. More? More? The pink one? Oh, George. Oh. We have, guys, I'm taking up too much of your time. I really appreciate you stopping to stay. And you know, I could will in time, like, join the chat room more, kind of, you know, do it for the chat, as it were. I'm not doing this necessarily for the chat. It's lovely to have people stop by and chat. Don't get me wrong, but I'm doing this for the practice. I'm doing this for the opportunity